Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. Today we're going to be talking all about choice specs. I've been doing some testing, and choice specs are ridiculously strong on some of these Pokemon. I'm going to get in there and show you it on one of the Pokemon with the most special attack in the game, Venusaur. I'm going to show you how much damage choice specs does and how it works. And then I'm going to go ahead and talk about all the different Pokemon that I think would benefit the most from choice specs. Let's get in there, though, with Venusaur and show you guys this insane damage. I'll tell you what I tested. Alrighty, so as we're loading into a practice match here, I just want to let you guys know I've already tested this item at level 1. I now have it at level 10 because I know I'm going to be using it. And basically the difference between the two was about a 20% increase in overall damage on my attacks. Basically, this does a lot of damage, guys, and it scales with special attack, which means that a lot of your heavy special attackers like Venusaur are going to get a lot of benefit from this item. And so basically, previously, with the item on, Seed Bomb at level 1 did 396. With it off, it did 301. So the first thing to note is that it does the damage if the attack hits, right? And then it does a flat amount times a multiplier of your special attack, and that's the total amount of extra damage it does. At level 1, this item is still really, really useful. At level 10, it's probably not that much more additionally useful, but we wouldn't know unless we saw the actual data mine behind it. Now, Razor Leaf, with it, did a 1,118 damage at level 4, and without 1,010. Now, I have special glasses on. I'm sorry, Wise Glasses and Shell Bell. But let's see, level 10, how much does this do? 422. That is, for 10 levels, that's about 30 damage more. It's not a ton more. So I would have to sit there and say that at between level 1 and 20, the difference is not huge for this item. But the point is, it's doing almost 100 damage more than it would without this item, and it's on hit. So any Pokemon that has a high special attack and uses a lot of items, a lot of attacks, will absolutely get the benefit from this. And that's something that you really need to keep in mind. So the reason why I like it here on Venusaur is because Venusaur has such a high special attack, one of the highest special attacks in the game. But any kind of Meiji Pokemon that uses a lot of abilities that hit multiple times will be able to get a lot of use out of this. Now, testing has been done, and it looks like the cooldown could be as high as 10 seconds between them. And here, let's actually try to test that if we can kind of confirm a little bit, at least that it has a bit of a cooldown. Because I saw that on Reddit, and who knows what's right about Reddit and what's wrong. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, see, so my cooldown is, the cooldown for that's about 10 seconds. So we're going to have to do some math. You ready? 420. Okay, yes, indeed. It did not go up. It did not double. So the cooldown is at least about those 3 seconds. Let's try this again one more time. Let's go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so it's at least 7 seconds. I think that dude was right. I think it looks like it's about a 10-second cooldown. Let's try for 9 seconds. You ready? We're going to wait for it to reset. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yep. All right, that looks about right. It looks like it should be about 10-second cooldown here on this item, but it's definitely really, really strong. I think that with something like a Venusaur that has a huge amount of burst with the ult, imagine the ult with this. Oh my gosh, you know what? We don't have to imagine it. We can watch it. We can watch it happen. Oh, let's look at Solar Beam with it, and let's look at the Unite move. You ready? Solar Beam, one Solar Beam with that item. 7,233 damage. That is a lot of damage, man. That is a lot of damage. Almost 8,000 damage at level 9. Oh, goodness. All right, you ready? Ult. Let's go. Let's see it. 2,136 damage. Now, that was hit by one of the bombs. So, that's a lot of freaking damage that can be done. Remember, though, the cooldown's pretty low. Or pretty high, I mean. 10 seconds is a pretty long cooldown. That explains why it's so strong. And the difference between level 1 and 10 is really not that much. So that's definitely something to keep in mind. I don't think you need to level this up all that much. I definitely don't think that level 30 would be necessary. Unless there's other data that we can't see. But it is a ton of damage. We're going to go up to level 15. Get all of our bonuses. Y'all ready for this? 8,402 damage. Okay, 8,402 damage at level 15 with one ability, Solar Beam Plus. Here's the deal. This item definitely scales really heavy from a lower level of the item and a lower level of the Pokemon. That's definitely what I'm finding. It wasn't as big of a difference as I thought it could be with the extra special attack that you're getting. It didn't scale all that much higher than I would have anticipated it to, but it is certainly pretty darn heavy scaling here, and I must say I am impressed. This with a 10-second cooldown, I think you're going to be basically looking for anybody who has really big burst in a short period of time. Anybody who can do a massive amount of damage quickly with ranged and has a high amount of special attack is the kind of Pokemon you want. Now let's go ahead and talk about which Pokemon those would be. Alright, so here we are looking at all of our Pokemon, and I'm going to just go through and talk about which ones would probably benefit pretty heavily from this. And I can immediately say Venusaur, yes. Venusaur maybe more than anybody else. Huge. So this item scales on your special attack, and Venusaur has a lot of special attack. So Venusaur 100% think that it's a very good, useful item on this. Maybe even required for one of those range builds, including a Solar Beam. You're going to be doing a lot of damage, especially in the early to mid game. You're going to destroy with Venusaur here as soon as you get Solar Beam. Pikachu, I think, very useful on Pikachu. Pikachu doesn't have as much special attack, but it should scale nicely. I think with the range, the multiple hitting range stuff, it could be really useful. Something like a more of a AoE build could be very nice for Pikachu here. I like it on Pikachu. I like it okay on Ninetales. Ninetales has good special attack. I think some builds would work better with this than others. I think more of a mage-based build rather than a buffing-based build would be good for Ninetales. I don't think I would use it on Wigglytuff. I don't think it has enough of scaling there. I'd have to test it, though, because it depends on if for example, if it buffs all of your multiple hits from your double slap, then yeah, this may be really good. If it only buffs one, or the first one, or none, then it's not. So some more testing would have to be used for Wigglytuff, but I don't think that, especially with the nerf that Wigglytuff got to their special attack, I feel like it wouldn't be the best there. I wouldn't recommend it on Blissey at all. Mr. Mime, maybe. Actually, probably. The reason why, because Mr. Mime already is bursty, right? And this is for a bursty ranged Pokemon. Now, Mr. Mime is melee, but knocking people into walls scales hugely off of your special attack. This gives you a bunch of special attack. It's part of a build you'd use anyway, and then it's going to smack real hard. And any sort of burst on a burst Pokemon is going to be beneficial here. And I think Mr. Mime could probably make good use out of this one. Let's see, who else? None of these guys. None of these guys. Eldegoss? No. No. Probably not. It would depend. I'd have to test this. If all of your ult timing got that bonus, it would be OP, but I don't think that's going to be the case. Especially because it's a cooldown. I'm assuming it would go once, and that'd be it. So I don't think it would work for Cramorant, but I could be wrong there. Some people were saying Gengar. I think possibly, yes. I think that Gengar, when you're going for more of that ranged build, I think could definitely be the case. So let's look at the details. When you're doing something more like, no thank you, like a Shadow Ball kind of build, Shadow Ball Dream Eater maybe. I mean, Hex can do a lot of damage too. It depends. I don't know, because Gengar is a lot about repeatedly using attacks, right? And I really don't think that's what this is built for. This item is more or less built for people who are going to be putting a burst down and then backing off generally, and then waiting a few seconds before they burst again. Gardevoir, 100%. I don't know if it would hit for all of Gardevoir's attacks when they're doing the multiple attack, but even with the ult, if it hits once on the ult, I think it could be very valuable. I think Gardevoir could get some really good use out of this. Not on Garchomp at all, and not on Talonflame. So there you go. Basically, your mages. Anybody who's going to be back and spending a bit of time in between waiting for cooldowns, I think will benefit from this. Out of the ones I talked about, Venusaur the most, and Gardevoir I think second, and Mr. Mime in there as well, because they wait about 5 to 8 seconds in between their attacks rotations anyway. Pikachu doesn't really, but I think Pikachu could get a lot of value from this anyway, and so could Ninetales. And I'd have to test the others. So there you go. That is the new, pretty awesome items that are coming out. I love them. I'm excited for them. Like I said, I think that that if you're really looking for the real quick summary for choice specs, the difference between level 1 and 10 is not that much. So keep that in mind. It's a little bit of a difference, but it's really not that much. It was about 30 damage at the lower levels, and with a 10-second cooldown, I don't think that's a big deal. But having it versus not having it, level 1 is a difference of about 100 points. 100 points of damage, and that's at level 4 with the choice specs at level 1. So this is one of those ones I think you could get at level 1 and keep there if you wanted to. I mean, look, you get a little bit of bonus special attack here, 19 to 20 if I upgraded it again, but that's really not all that much in the larger scheme of things. And so, not compared to Venusaur's pool of 960 base. So I really don't think that that's going to be necessary. I think that having this at level 1 is probably optional for most people here who are going to be using it occasionally. I guess if you're going to go all out on it, sure, why not? Have at. But it's not the one that I'd put my additional item enhancers into. I wouldn't. So there you go. That's choice specs. Really cool. Really good for those ranged, big, heavy damage dealers. Longer cooldown, so keep that in mind. And we'll see you guys next time. This is a cool item. Peace out.